What's going on, guys? So, if you didn't know, there's a dude named Wade Wilson, quite literally kind of coinciding with the whole release of Deadpool and Wolverine. It's gotten a lot of popularity recently as far as like the mainstream of being a complete psychopath. He unalived a few people, 2 women, and pretty much the whole thing right now is getting blown up, and there's a lot of weirdos surrounding this. Now, I'm not going to cover the whole trial. I'm not going to cover the exact details of like the crime. I'm going to actually talk about the stuff outside of that. The stuff that's coinciding with it, which is like Free Wade Wilson and this entire movement of women that are psychotic and are trying to, I don't know, sexualize this whole situation with them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start off by saying it's very unfortunate to the families that have to deal with this and having to see all these people romanticizing the situation with them. So, you know, my heart goes out to those families that have to deal with this. And for the people hiding behind religion and using that as a shield to say why he should be freed, or why he should be in a nut hut instead of actually being, criminalized for it, you're an idiot. You're a complete buffoon, and I cannot agree with that. Now, I'm somebody that was raised in a Christian background, so I understand wanting to pray for people and wanting something better for them because of what they did, and you wish they weren't like that. That's 100% redeemable. But for you to think that the criminal system shouldn't exist for the most part is stupid. There's a reason why it's there, is to keep him from being on the streets to do it again. So I wanted to get that out of the way. It's not to bash Christianity, it's just to bash the morons that like to use that as a complete defense to act like, oh, it's okay, God will protect it. Like, no, it happened. Let's just go ahead and admit what has happened is bad and he needs to be dealt with. Now, I'm also not going to argue between capital punishment or whether or not he should just have life in prison. I have my own personal beliefs behind that, and I'm not going to get into details of that. But let's get into the biggest outlier is Free Wade Wilson. Now, this is just me looking it up on Google and literally sending me straight to TikTok. This right here. You see a couple of them. One's literally a Wade Wilson fan page on the left. And I'm not understanding this at all. These are complete crazy people. They're like literally talking about him being freed. That there for a while, there's a big ordeal saying he was set up or it was fake. And, there's a little bit of time where he was talking about how he didn't do it and it doesn't make sense, and then pretty much all out admitting it now, and he's been convicted. I mean, it's pretty much black and white what happened, and I think it is 100% justified that he is at least going to prison. So I'll go ahead and get that out of the way. Him not being on the streets is 100% great because he's a monster and he does not deserve my empathy, and I will never feel bad for him. Now, his family, whether or not you want to say may have been a proponent to how he is, I'm not going to argue that. I do know that his dad kind of went from telling him that he's an idiot for allowing these conversations to happen, where people are exposing him through, through the private conversations they've had, and then, or I think it was his ex-girlfriend was using the phone to try to make him feel comfortable, and then putting it on blast to let everybody know how crazy he is. And then I think the dad kind of turned away from him now and is like completely clowning on him, which is great. That just shows that the dad will probably still hurting that his son pretty much died the same day they did. As soon as he committed those crimes, it was pretty much over with. So as somebody that knows that a family member, or a personal close friend of mine who was murdered years ago, was murdered by his brother. The family that day, both sons that basically died because they lost the son quite literally, and then the other son that committed it, he's in prison for the rest of his life. So they've lost both of them the same day. So I can only imagine a family going through that when the perpetrator did this, because at that point you have to ask yourself, is your kid even your kid anymore, or is he just a convicted felon at that point that you just have to abandon all hope for? Now, the Free Wade Wilson stuff is like, doesn't even end there. There was a petition trying to be signed, which I thought was stupid. Hey, sorry, I'm gonna put a little bit of a correction here. The Free Wade Wilson thing that I'm trying to talk about, the petition, is not to free him from prison. It is to try to save him from the death penalty. Sorry, I was a little wrong there. I wanted to correct myself before I got this video completely out there. And also to let you know, if you notice something that is completely throwing it off for me, it's all women. It's all women. But they're just talking about how it's not right to take his life. So I just wanted to correct that. Yeah, I'm a bit, I completely misunderstood it. I was reading through articles and they were saying it was to free him completely, but I guess they were wrong too. But at least as of right now, the only thing I see is petition. So sorry about that. To actually get him freed because of whatever the reason was, I assume it was just because at the time they were thinking he was innocent, and then I assume also pretty privileged. I'll get into more details of that. but the pretty privilege thing where they just think he's too pretty to be in jail or too pretty to have committed a crime. That's really dumb. And I'm saying some of the pictures would probably be before he got the swastika, some extra face tattoos. It was probably where he just had like the neck down where he showed he was actually attractive. And I think a lot of people were pretty much, gung-ho they should be free because of that. Now, here comes the biggest issue I got. And that's the pretty privileged part. And it's these women absolute snail trailing to the phones to try to talk to them. Now, what I am down with is that they're basically, and I'm saying exposed, they're being exposed for all their conversations they had over, recorded and documented phone calls to the prison to talk to the guy. Now, if you don't know, all of those are completely able to be gotten by the public. They're not private. They're not even really being exposed. They're just out there. But a lot of the women that have been trying to communicate with them and romanticize this and sexualize it are getting outed, and they are getting really pissed because it's making them look like an idiot, which they are. And I wanted to go ahead and touch base on the whole pretty privilege part that I'm talking about. So, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, the tattoos don't make him, attractive." But he is a over 6 foot tall man that is like quite literally physically built, and he is what the epitome of a good-looking guy would be. Tattoos are not. To give you a reference, there's a guy named Jeremy Meek. This guy right here that I'm showing you many years ago was in trouble with the law, and once the mugshot was public, everybody was like, "Oh, free my guy. He's too handsome to be in jail." That's the pretty privileged part I'm talking about, and this is not incel talk. I know it sounds so close to it, because incels literally talk about a lot of mega chads being, pretty privileged and stuff like that, and they're usually, but their stuff is not sound, and it makes them look stupid. What I'm meaning is, I'm literally using it almost ironically, but yeah, he is, he's an attractive person that these women are romanticizing. Now, that's not the first time this has happened in, 50, 60 years, we'll just say that. Serial killers are romanticized and sexualized by common random women all the time who need to have their heads checked because I don't think they understand. Let's go ahead, and I don't like bringing up all these arguments, but the argument of like bear versus man, whatever. If you're not familiar with the internet, that means women running through the woods. Would you rather be alone with a man or a bear? And a lot of them picking the bear. So that argument aside, I'm just going to go ahead and pinpoint something. The women that are going after this and trying to pursue the man and are romanticizing it, this is the guy that women are using as the metaphorical man or bear situation. This is the guy. Because I don't know if you know this, men like that unalive women are not just like run up, oh, pow, done. No, a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, are essaying them, torturing them, forcing them for who knows how many hours for their own pleasure. This is the argument. This is the outlier, the person they're using for the argument. And you guys are pursuing that said person who would violently torture you and ruin your entire life and then take that from you. I mean, that makes absolutely no sense. Because I don't know if you can comprehend the fact that the dude is literally a psychopath. There's full-on people analyzing his physical mannerisms throughout the trial that have shown how he's trying to show how dominant he is, and while reserving some of his more, anxious attributes, which is like, I think they said hard swallowing and little twitches in the face and this, that, and the other. He's trying to show that he's confident and dominant, while also small little things are showing how insecure he is in the whole situation. But you can see in his eyes, apparently, he's so psychopathic that he wants everybody to see that regardless that he's on the losing side, he is still in control, that he is still the most dominant one in the room. Now, I don't know if that's probably part of the reason why they find him so appealing. Obviously, it's like the bad boy aspect. There's always that ongoing joke that women like bad boys. This is probably part of it. Is he's literally like the most vile human being, and they're just jumping on the, on the bandwagon. But like I said, what I'm finding interesting and I'm actually laughing about is the exposed part, where all of their phone calls, all these private phone calls are out in the open and they're being outed, and people are like clowning them. From what I understand, people are calling their personal jobs. People are like giving recordings out to some of these people. I don't know the full details, but this is a lot of stuff I've been seeing where people are saying that's why they're getting pissed. It's because people are clowning on them their personal lives because of this. While I can't condone it, I find it hilarious, and I can't wait to hear more, because this is your own personal fault. You went to a perpetrator, a absolute vile human being, went to have sexually charged, conversations with him. You wanted to help feed this man's ego. And then you want to feel like you're the victim because people are making fun of you. No, you are a moron. You deserve all the ridicule, all the absolute hilariousness coming your way because of the fact that you tried to romanticize a complete psychopath who just ruined, not only took 2 people's lives, but ruined 2 families and possibly any future they had with their life. And you are going to sit here and act like you're the victim just because they're clowning you because of your phone calls. No, that's the least of the least that they could do is clown on you because of the phone calls. Honestly, there's a lot worse that could happen that I cannot, say I condone because, these people, they don't exist inside reality. They exist outside of reality. Everything is just a game to them until it personally affects them. That's the type of people these people are. And that's the stuff I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to talk about the whole trial because the trial's been pretty much talked to death. There's a bunch of channels covering it and the entirety of it. If you want to go watch them to get the details, by all means, the news has been covering it. I'm pretty sure there's a lot bigger creators that can probably cover the actual trial itself way better than I would have been able to. I just wanted to cover all the outliers, all the stuff that's not directly involved with the trial, just all the absolute idiots that were trying to quote-unquote defend the man or try to sexualize or romanticize him. But yeah, that's about all I got to say. Y'all have a good one.